Think about everything you want a little city car to be, and Mitsubishi's little iCar ticks nearly all the boxes. It's small, yet has room for 4. It's economical, it has an automatic gearbox, and it looks funky too. If they can afford the asking price, it's a little car that city dwellers shouldn't ignore.
Visit Japan and you're often left wondering how any of their products really translate to a Western perspective, so alien is the culture. But the Japanese have more than a thing or two to teach us about cars and urban areas. Just after the Second World War, they introduced the K class of car. And in 1998, the latest set of regulations limited the length of a K car to 3.4 metres and the engine size to 660 cc's. This Mitsubishi i is the latest example of this ilk. It corresponds to all of the K car class. And it's a car that might well translate a little bit better to a European perspective than K cars of the past. With its minuscule 660cc engine, this Mitsubishi i isn't a quick car. Show it a motorway grade, load it up with 4 people, and you'll be inviting a letter from the League Against Cruel Sports. But here in town, it's really in its element. It's got a tiny turning circle, vision out of it is excellent, and it steps off the line reasonably well. If there's an easier car to drive, I've yet to find it. It's got a 4-speed automatic, so you don't even have to worry about a clutch. And the turning circle is just ludicrously small, making the car very, very easy to park. What's a little bit disconcerting at times is quite how little car you have in front of you. When you pull up behind another vehicle in the traffic, it seems like you're almost climbing on board with them. But it makes a pretty decent noise as well. It's got a little turbo and it's as fast as it needs to be. The ride quality, even on these cobbled roads here, isn't too bad at all. It's a car that is a dedicated city car. You wouldn't want to subject it to long motorway journeys on a regular basis, but for what it does its job very, very well. Where K cars have developed most significantly down the years is in space utilisation. The old cars used to be tiny, you used to have to fold yourself into them, and the interiors are about as accommodating as a cell at Camp X-Ray. Now it's different. You look at this Mitsubishi i, and the wheels are stretched out onto each corner, leaving lots of space inside the cabin. There aren't too many cars I can think of where the leading edge of the front tyre is actually in front of the headlamps. There's room inside for 4 adults, get one behind the other quite easily. There's even a usable boot. You can get the weekly shop in there, but the engine's under here, so don't leave your frozen goods in there too long because it'll cook them. You can also fold the back seats down, both seats split, so you can get longer items in there. It's a lot more versatile than its key rival, the City Car Smart, by dint of having 4 seats and a much bigger boot area. You're probably wondering right now how you've managed down the years without Oecotec's standard 100 hypoallergenic seat fabric. I know I am. This Mitsubishi i comes with it as standard. It also comes with deodorising roof lining, so it smells as fresh as a daisy, even with me in here. It's reasonably well equipped. You get climate controlled air conditioning, electric windows all round, anti-lock brakes and a CD stereo. This rather natty Alpine stereo is an optional extra. It's a bit punchier than the standard fit system, which is integrated into the dash. But aside from that, it's a very, very well equipped car for the money. Also, you've got to factor in the price of the automatic gearbox. It starts to look a bit more competitive. Now, there are a lot of rivals that cost about the same, but are bigger cars like the Renault Clio, for example. And you'll probably be wondering why you should go for a tiny car like this that might be a bit out of its depth on the motorway, instead of one of these more versatile cars. And it's a good question, but Mitsubishi have realised that there are a core group of customers who aren't entirely price conscious and want a dedicated city car that's different and does its thing in town better than anything else. The Mitsubishi i is one of the cheapest cars to run that is possible to buy. Limited supply means that the market's not going to be flooded with the things, helping residual values, and the only possible caveat in that regard is if they do become quite popular and parallel importers start to bring them in decent numbers, but I don't see that happening. Emissions are super low. It's under 120 grams per kilometre, which means it'll qualify for a very cheap road fund licence and also exemption from the London congestion charge. Fuel economy is about 55 miles per gallon, although it does suffer a bit if you like to put your foot down, because this car does make quite a good noise and it's good fun to drive. Insurance is also very cheap, but security isn't quite as good as the best of the European cars. But other than that, it's a very, very polished all-round performance and a very cheap car to run. So, if you're a 20 or 30 something and you're looking for the next small thing, Mitsubishi i might well be it. Chances are that you've owned something like a Ford car, a Fiat Panda or a smart car, looking for something a bit different, a little bit more exotic. The Mitsubishi i certainly fits the bill. Drive one of these in city traffic and you'll definitely see the appeal.